Good usually. Okay, thought you Galway could lawn on chapel or Jerfall. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all very welcome to this fabulous occasion in honour of our great city of culture, our great town of arts, our great precinct of heritage, and our great street of the family of the Fordes, all of whom seem to have turned up eventually. Apart from one, she's the teacher, she's the only one who's working. Especially Gary McMahon, Ifrica Gallion, the Cahar the Galliva, August, Horrible, Broadul, August, very happy and inarticulate to be here in conjunction with our great colleagues in the Cúirt Festival, creative director Sasha DeWheel, who is here, she's up there on the railings, and other people from associated with the Cúirt Festival, of which this is part. You're very welcome to Cúirt. And our long standing friends in the Kenny Bookshop and Gallery, and Tom Kenny, who I'm going to call on in a minute. And of course, we're outside O'Gorman's. We're on what is colloquially known as, when I was grown up, O'Gorman's Lane. And Ronnie O'Gorman is going to talk to us in a little while. But first, we'd like to really welcome the entire Forde family, Mrs. Detta Forde, and all her daughters. And grandchildren. And of course, the reason we're here, for anyone who's just randomly turned up and wonder what the hell this is that every year during the Cúirt International Festival of Literature and Poetry, for many's a long year, we have been celebrating writers, international and local, through a series of poetry and prose plaques around the city, the latest of which is going to be unveiled today. Others are going to tell you a little bit more about it than I will, but this is why we're here. The sun has come out, everything's right with the world. We're looking at St. Nicholas's. There may even be a little surprise from St. Nicholas's before we conclude today. And Catherine Moore Temple from Cúirt, or from St. Nicholas's here. We won't be dealing with that. And unlike my esteemed predecessor, James Harold, who honours us today, I haven't spent hours honing a speech, as you can tell, and rehearsing and building in the laugh lines. So I will proceed without any further ado to my partner in crime on this particular venture, Mr. Tom Kenny, the elder lemon of the arts in Galway, and of Kenny's Gallery and Bookshop.
What's the word for a junior lemon? Anyway, Garamila Magi ar fad, a suck chap William, Firchain Falcha, a Horror ar fad, is Okod, Jas, Kultur, Gagas, Alienta Esha, Istar, Litriuchten and Gallive. This is number 27 on the Poetry Trail. There are 26 other plaques dotted all around the city, all celebrating different aspects of our environment in Galway, and all written beautifully in prose, in poetry, in Irish, some of them, and English, by many of our great writers. I think the significance, particularly of today, is that this is an extremely local event. This is celebrating the work of Patricia Forde, who grew up literally around the corner from us here, and it's so wonderful to see so many of her family and old friends around. It's a very special occasion, and I hope this would stop many people in their tracks on their way up and down this lane. So, to formally launch the occasion, I'm going to now ask Ronnie O'Gorman, who's my partner in other things, and after whom this lane is named, actually, and he is going to formally help unveil the plaque.
Okay, welcome.
Well, I think this plaque really has been unveiled, and why there's so many people here, because there's an echo playing of games in the streets. And when I grew up, you know, I used to hang around with boys, and we had a crowd of girls in our street, and this is in Lenaway Park now, Salt Hill, and the girls were brilliant at skipping. There might be two girls at either end. They'd have the skipping rope going around, and girls would jump in and out and skip one leg and the other leg, and out they go. Maybe two girls would go in and skip and out again and come again. And us boys were standing around saying, God, this is so thick. But actually, we were so impressed. And then they had another game with balls against the wall. They'd have two balls going up and clap their hands behind their back, catch the ball, clap their hands behind. I mean, this was normal behaviour for young people, maybe under the age of 13. You do not see that today, and it's such a shame. There's even a little park where I live. No child plays in that park. They don't even kick a football. So I don't know what's happened. Are parents afraid to let their children out? Or maybe children, you know, have not ever experienced the games and the fun they could have by playing together outside. Well, that's just my observation. And what I love about Patricia's poem is that she refers to exactly those games. I love the cowgirls. Where's that? The cowgirls galloping. I mean, wonderful to think of girls pretending to be cowboys and galloping. I just love this. And of course, you refer to skipping as well. Just so lovely. So the other thing about it is, I must say, Forde's paint shop. I long for small shops where you could go in, speak to the person behind the counter, tell them your problem, you're trying to paint this room and you're not sure what to do, and you get advice and it works for you. Now there's another paint shop in this town down in Woodkey that has exactly that type of service, and I go there only because I remember Forde's in Market Street. Exactly that personal service. And again, these small shops are being surpassed by these massive multi-stored places that are wonderful, but they're so big, they're so impersonal, and if you catch one of the staff, you say, please, please, and he said, no, I'm with them, and he's gone, and you wait again, he said, and they're gone. So if you find it yourself, you're lucky. So I really lament the passing of those shops. I'm not lamenting modernity whatsoever, but I'm just saying those were memories that I have, playing outside, playing games, and dealing with small shops, and I wish they all had been passed. So, just a bit about Patricia. Patricia is a wonderful writer. And I have here anybody who hasn't read a book by Patricia. I've got some books here I'm going to give you free of charge because she is a discovery. You will read her books. They're meant to be for young people. They're in fact for all, and they are wonderful. So I'm going to give out free some of these books. If anybody hasn't read them, please tell me and I'll give you one of the books. So, a lot of talk there, but really I just want to salute this lovely plaque. I love it being in O'Gorman's Lane. It's not O'Gorman's Lane anymore now, it's Eason's Lane or Church Lane or something like that. I think that's what happened. And what happened was, there were cottages all the way along here. I think when the bricked part of the building stopped, there was a row of cottages. And I don't quite know how my grandfather bought them, but he eventually acquired them. So it was, the whole lane actually belonged probably to O'Gorman's in the sense that the printing works was here, and the bindery and all that went with it. But anyway, look, how lovely. Everybody is out here because we're celebrating something that has passed. But Patricia has reminded us of the good things that were. And it's a lovely thing to celebrate. And I'm going to ask Patricia to read the poem, if she wouldn't mind. And on that note, I will leave you to your memories and your dreams. And look at lovely Detta is here, Patricia's mom, a wonderful lady. Isn't it great? Isn't it great? Well done, Detta, and well done, Patricia. I now leave it over to you.
Reflects a really happy childhood in Market Street, and for that I want to thank my mother and my my gaggle of sisters, as we call them. I think it was Gary said at the beginning, I won't name your sisters because I won't remember them. So Maria, Imelda, Eilish, Etna, and Celine. Did I leave out one? Maria, Imelda, Eilish, Etna, and Celine. That's it. And myself. That's what's wrong with it. And me. So anyway, I'm delighted they're all here, and my gorgeous grandnieces who are here as well, Roisin and Caoimhe, and in the pram, Mr. Patrick, the latest addition to the family. So growing up here was fantastic. Growing up on Market Street was the best, and we had great neighbours. Willie Keneally, the undertaker, and his family lived next door. The Coolahans, the Garveys, Maura Maloney. Across the road, the Cawleys, and Watson's electrical shop, the O'Connells, the jewellers. All of those were our playmates on the street. And because we were spread a good bit from the eldest to the youngest, there's 11 years I think between me and Celine, we had different friends and different families. For me, I mostly hung out in the Mercy Secondary School when we played. My best mates there were Muriel Small, who lived in Newtown Smith, and Teresa Ryan, who lived in Mary Street. And Muriel is no longer with us, but we remember her today, and I'll always remember her because she was part of the soundtrack of my childhood. Like I said, it was a great place to grow up, and we had the best of times. And like I think it was Ronnie was saying, there were so many families living here, you know, Bowling Green, all the way around. One of my younger sisters, Ethna, was saying that 10 years later she was playing in St. Patrick's School, and she reckoned there were 30 kids from around playing British Bulldog. So O'Gorman's Lane was special to us. It's where a lot of us learned to cycle. Etna, who isn't here, my sister sent me a note today saying, you taught me to ride my tricycle here. And that is true. And the poem celebrates childhood, and I think, you know, I still go into a lot of schools and see a lot of children, and really nothing much has changed. I know we all think they're stuck with their technology and their phones, but they're really creative as well, and they're funny and they're intelligent, and they do play games. And I know some people here from Scolignaud today, and I did a workshop with them recently. Fabulous people. So I think the future is really safe in their hands. For putting all this together, and it is a beautiful project. The Poetry Trail is absolutely lovely, and it brings you around the city in a different way. All of the poems have something to do with where they are, including this one. And like you said, St. Nicholas is also a big part of our lives because it woke us every Sunday morning with the bells ringing. And at Christmas time, the market would move right up under our window, so you'd wake up to hear the turkeys saying their last words just before they were taken away somewhere privately to be dealt with. So with all of that in mind, I will read you the poem. All in together. We were not anchored to the ground once the shops had shut and the traffic slowed. The streets were our playground then. Cowgirls galloped through Bowling Green. Marbles rolled in the cladder. The neighbours' boys forged their carts to clatter down Hidden Valley. The winning goal for Galway was struck at the top of O'Gorman's Lane, while we turned ropes on Market Street, and our feet beat time in the rain. Gurmila Martin.